Welcome back to the Awakening Women podcast. I'm your host, Leanne Oaten, and in this episode, I want to talk about something that's a little bit different, a little bit of a diversion from the typical content. As you can see, I'm mixing it up with the educational aspects of the dynamics of a destructive relationship because that is important. If you are trying to up-level, reach for more, have more in your life, feel more joy, have more success, have greater income, have better relationships, have better health. If you are experiencing the dynamics of abuse and narcissistic abuse in your relationship, you will find that reaching those levels of all areas of your life that you want to get to is very limited. You'll feel very held back, weighted down, and you'll only get so far, or you might take 10 steps forward and then 11 steps back, for instance, or maybe not even 10 steps forward. This is often present with depression, anxiety, mental health, your ability to function correctly, to think clearly, to have the energy and the cognitive function to be able to focus in at work or on your business, to achieve the income levels that you want to achieve the level of health that you want to achieve, because our emotional health impacts our physical health directly. And our emotional health over time starts to be expressed in our cells, in our body, in our symptoms. And unless we can address the root cause of these issues, everything else that you're doing externally will have limited results. So you may be still doing well in your business or your career. I've worked with women and I do work with women who have high-level careers. They're high-income earners. They're very successful in their careers, but they're struggling deeply in their relationships. And they can show up and do all the things and be on point at work or in their vocation, in their business with what they're doing. But then as soon as they clock out or they, get off a call with a client or get off of a meeting, the reality of the relationship situation is very real and it's right back in their face again. So they could get off of a meeting call or come home from work and they're right into that reality. I've worked with women who really struggle with that, and then they struggle with keeping it together at work when they've got calls and texts or emails and drama they're trying to deal with, or they're trying to deal with stuff that's going on with their kids while their kids are at school because it's all on them. I've worked with women who are the breadwinners, the income earners, and they're taking care of every single thing else on top of it. They don't have a partner or someone to have their back to do it together with, right? So they're figuring it out on their own, and these women have the traits that I'm about to get into with the success-driven women, and we might call them high achievers. It's what I've seen with these types of women that I work with. They're at a different level. While they're still dealing with these dynamics, they're successful in their careers. And so it's made me just want to really dive deeper into that, because that has been my journey as well. Is what I'm about to share here is I identify with these traits as well. And I think when we have these traits that are inborn, they're in there. I think they can be developed, but I think more so they're just there. We develop them very early on as, I think, coping mechanisms, but it's also just an inborn trait. I really do believe that. And again, that doesn't mean we can't develop that, but I do think that some people are just made differently. Some people are just wired differently, and they would rather stay in victim mentality, complaining and being negative, than look for solutions and actually move toward it and actually do something. And that also goes for women who are in these relationships. So the women that have the skills and abilities to build a career, build a business, you have to have certain traits to do that, to be able to build a significant income from your own business or excel in your career, to go to school and work in the vocation that you want to work in, right? So it's I think there's personality types, there are, and also not only that, you are much more like juicier nectar to steal from, to take from when it comes to an unhealthy partner or someone that sees all of the wonderful things that you are, and they want to cut you down. They want to knock you down a few pegs. They want to make you question your worth or question the very things that you feel good at, the things that you feel you're good at. And you have to pay attention to that, right? Because it's actually those of us who are more evolved, we're more self-aware, we are very empathic and compassionate, and we like to see good in people and understand why things happen. And we can look so deep into the psychology of things to be able to talk ourselves out of any behavior someone might have, because then we're going, oh, well, it could be this, it could be that, it could be, instead of just going, this is not working for me, it doesn't matter why. These are the tendencies of the women that I work with, is they tend to go into that. They're very cognitive and logical. They're not enough in their bodies, they're not enough in their emotions, they're not enough. And that doesn't mean that they're not feeling emotions, but they tend to be very just stuck in the feeling stuckness of it all, but they're not really moving it through. They can get stuck in that, and then they go into doing mode to pull themselves out of that. So they go into sinking into the emotion, and then they have to pull themselves out and go into the cognitive work mode. The 10 traits of success-driven women, from my perspective, when I look at all of the women that I've worked with and the ones that really are able to move the needle forward and they're able to pull themselves out of these types of situations, they have most of these traits. So the first is that we don't like to stay stuck. And I remember, I can think of several clients when I've talked to them, they're just like, I want to find a way out of this situation. I want to find a way forward. I do not like this feeling of being stuck and that I'm living a double life. I'm over here in my career, I'm going to work, I'm going to the office, I'm going to see patients, I'm seeing clients, I'm running these meetings, and I'm on. But then over here, I'm dealing with this nonsense over here, and I have to act like everything is okay. And living that double life is exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. Women who are more driven, they don't like the feeling of being stuck. They don't even like the feeling of being victimized. They don't like the word victimized. You don't want to identify with, I'm a victim. It's like, ew, gross, no. I remember that word just like, it always has just repelled me, because I just feel like it's such a disempowering thing to call yourself. And that doesn't mean you haven't been victimized or been the victim of something, but you don't want to identify with that. If you want to get anywhere in your life and you want to succeed and excel in any area, you've got to get out of victim mentality. The first trait of success-driven women that don't stay stuck is that they don't like feeling stuck. It's uncomfortable for them to stay complacent in the same place. And they tend to compensate for that by overdoing or doing too much of the wrong things, right? We're trying to put out fires and control and manage other people, and that never works. Number 2 is that they seek solutions. We are constantly looking for solutions. So if we're not sure of how to do something, we're not sure how to move forward with something, we are wanting to move past something, we're looking for solutions. We're not willing to stay stuck and be in the poor me. And it's not that we can't go there, but we don't want to stay there. And so we look for ways to dig ourselves out if we have to, in order to move forward. Number 3 is that they will invest in themselves. They will hire coaches, they'll hire therapists, they will purchase the courses, audiobooks, they'll listen to podcasts. They are invested in their personal growth. And they're not lack-minded where it's, I can't afford this, I can't afford that. They find a way to figure out how to invest in things that they know they need to. They find a way. And they often won't use that kind of language as, oh, that's too expensive, or I can't afford that. They will say, oh, that's an investment, but it looks worth it to me, and I know I need to do it. And boom, that's it. They'll make the decision. They're very decisive. Number 4, we look for the lesson, and we are willing to do differently. We want to learn from our mistakes, and we want to do differently. That is a big one. I know for me, sometimes I can overdo it in that area where I'm like, what's the lesson in this and what's the lesson in that? And sometimes it's just like, well, it's just life. But I've always been like that. Like, oh, what did I learn from this? And oh, what's the pattern here? Like, what is this sign or this message that I'm being given? And always looking to do differently. So once we are aware of where we're messing up, or we're aware of the things we weren't aware of before, we will do differently. So if we know we have a pattern in a way that's moving us in the direction we don't want to go, or it's keeping us stuck, and we have identified it, we will change it. We'll do whatever we can to change it. So we have a really high level of self-accountability. Number 5 is that we have an inner fire. It's an inner tenacity that it's never snuffed out. Sometimes it can be dimmed. Sometimes it can go into smoldering, but we're able to get back into that fire, into that tenacity. That's what has gotten us through life and all that we have been through. A lot of times as success-driven women, we've been through all kinds of shit. And so we have this inner tenacity because we've had to have that to get ourselves back up. We didn't have someone else there fixing things for us and helping us and rescuing us. This is like we had to figure out a way to pull ourselves back up again. So we develop that inner tenacity. Number 6, we get knocked down, but we don't stay down, and we are determined to rise. We're determined to we don't want to stay down and feel like shit. And so we can tend to actually bypass our emotional experience and move into just the cognitive doing mode. So this is why we are able to achieve what we do, why we're able to be successful in what we put our minds to, is because we tend to bypass our actual emotional experience and just do, right? But that is a gift in itself, of course, because we're still able to achieve and carry on with life no matter how hard it is that things are actually feeling for us or how we're feeling. We still get back up and keep going no matter what. Number 7, people don't know when you're struggling. If you are one of these women, people around you would never know how much you're actually having a hard time because you don't look or appear as someone in a situation like that. And so a lot of times that can make you feel a bit like an imposter because you're like, in this area of my life, it's a bloody hot mess express. And here I am showing up in all other areas of my life, in my business, in my work life. And I'm doing well. I'm good at what I do. But this area over here is not going well, but nobody would ever know. So can sometimes be a negative because then people think you're okay when you're not. But this is where we all have to learn to be able to ask for help and receive when we're needing that support. Number 8 is that health is a priority. The women that I've worked with who have this success-driven mindset is they are seeking out the naturopathic care. They're seeking out root cause. They're seeking out holistic. They're eating healthy, and they're more inclined to buy things like organics and supplements and things like that. It's a high value to also take care of our body when we are success-driven, because we understand that our body is our machine. In order to be able to do what we want to do, our body has to be running properly. If you've ever had a health issue, a chronic health issue, or you've been sick for a time, or you've been really burned out and just felt like crap, you know that your productivity and your ability to show up is very much reduced. And so you know that your body can only take you so far if it's not running well. So we really do have to prioritize our physical health. Number 9, we look for support when we don't know something. If we're not sure how to do something in any area of our lives, we will invest in getting that support. So again, that goes back to maybe you will hire a personal trainer or see a naturopathic doctor to get your hormones balanced. You will hire a coach or a mentor that has specific expertise in the area that you need help with. It could be financial, it could be personal life, your business. I've invested, oh my gosh, I don't even know how many multiple thousands and thousands of dollars on business mentoring and coaching and programs to learn online business and marketing. That's not even anything to do with the amount of money I spent on my education. So we're willing to invest. We're willing to invest in ourselves And we're not in that lack mindset of like, oh, I need to save all my pennies and it's a waste of money to spend on myself. We understand that our body is our vehicle to get us where we need to go. And so we will get the support that we need if we're not sure how to do something on our own. And number 10, we aren't happy unless we have a goal to work toward. We're unsettled and not our happiest when we aren't working towards something. I know for me, that's very true. So I am working on health. I really amped up my health. I'm getting double the amount of steps every day because I'm intentionally getting out walking more and sitting less. I'm working on my sleep because my sleep's been shit for some reason. And so that's like my priority is I need to make sure that I'm getting sleep, because if you have ever had periods of time where you're struggling with insomnia or waking in the night and not being able to go back to sleep, you know that you wake up the next morning feeling like a truck hit you. So you need your sleep. I have really dialed in my nutrition and simplified my eating, really eating very simple foods without gluten, without dairy, and eating very, very little outside of my home. I make like 95% of what I eat is made at home, and eating organics and local grass-fed beef and organic local meats if I'm going to have them. And so that is my health driven goals. Like that's not even all of it that I'm doing. That's just some of it that has come to mind. And then, working more on my business goals and being more creative in my business, because when I was struggling with my health this last year, I was not able to show up in my business. That's just the reality. So it's put a lot of intention into, well, I need my body working properly. That's number one. Can only go so far when our body is not working properly. That is the truth. And so, having these goals and refining them and simplifying and getting really crystal clear on what it is that you want in every area of your life is a place to begin. If you are in this place and you identify with this and you want to increase your health, maybe you want to lose a few pounds, you want to slim down, you want to look younger, you want to have more energy, you want to feel more vibrant, you want to up-level some area of your career or business, you want to increase your income or add another stream of income to your business, or you want to have a side hustle. Whatever it is you need to do, like, yes, we need to have our income dialed, ladies. And, typically success-driven women, that's a high priority for us. But that doesn't mean that you might not want more, right? And there's endless possibilities that are available to us nowadays. If you want to have other streams of income, even if you do work a full-time career and you want to have a side hustle making other streams of income, if you're like, hey, I need more income, this 10K a month is not enough, or I want to make more than 100K a year, or whatever your goal is, there's a way to do it. So never get yourself stuck in a limited thinking of, oh, I can never progress or make more in this career that I'm doing. There's always a way to make more. If you're wanting to increase your joy, you're wanting to increase your connection with your loved ones, then put some intentional time into that. Do you see how all of these things that I've just talked about have nothing to do with your relationship partner? Just sit with that for a moment. All of these things that I have just listed and talked about, if you identify with even just a handful of these, you have that within you. And so you can choose to focus in on that. You know the saying, what we focus on grows, what we focus on expands. So you can focus in on those things in your life. And if you are wanting support and mentoring with that, then definitely get into one of my mentoring programs, because you need to, move through and clear the blocks that are stopping you from getting there. And if it is your relationship, then yeah, you need to address that and deal with it. But that doesn't mean that your life is on hold and you're not focusing on this aspect. And actually, where women experience the greatest breakthroughs is when they have done a 180 about their relationship and said, you know what, I have done enough to try and figure this out. Now I'm going to just do a 180 and redirect all of that energy toward my goals. So it's looking at those corners of life, your relationships, your physical body, your mental, emotional wellness, your career and finances and income. That will take all of your energy. That will take more of your mental energy, and it actually will probably be more energizing for you because you're putting it toward building yourself up rather than draining yourself trying to build someone else up that's not interested and really you have no business doing. And so when you actually redirect all of your energy toward that, imagine what becomes possible. But you have to have that inner drive there. If you don't, you're just going to make excuses for why you have to stay where you are. And I know for a fact that you can't get anywhere from that place. You have to step into that fire and get into that powerful place within you that wants more and focus in, laser focus on those aspects. All right, so that's what I wanted to share with you in this episode. I hope that some part of this has been helpful for you. And please, if you love this podcast and it's been helpful for you whatsoever, go into iTunes and leave me a 5-star rating and a written review and let me know what you love about the show. It really helps for others when they land on the show to see positive reviews, obviously, and feedback about how it's helped you. Only, of course, if it's true. I don't expect anybody to go on there and write false testimonials. But if you love the show and you have gotten something out of it and you would recommend it, please do me a favor and give back by leaving me that review. And for more about my programs and how you can work with me, head to Leanne.app or head to the link in the show notes for what I have available at this time. Also join our Facebook group, Aligned Women. So a few different places. And of course, if you're not already following me on Instagram, come on over to Awakening Women Official and join the community over there. All right, take good care. Bye for now.